Hey, hello everyone. This is Chris with Edit with Cafe. Welcome to my channel. We're gonna go ahead and do a weekly review. I usually do this on a written form on my Substack, but I decided to just put up a video. I think I can, cover and explain a couple of things a little bit better. All right, so we're gonna start with the S&P 500. The markets have been going through a roughly about 3-week correction. Last week was the first week that the bulls kind of started to take charge on a little bit of a higher volume, and they came pretty strongly. They actually closed a little bit more than half of the previous candle's body. So to me, that's and signs were coming in last week that the bulls are starting to kind of come back into it. And I guess the main question is, was this whole thing a shakeout or is still part of a correction? As you can see in here, we still have a couple of levels to the upside that we got to overtake before we can say with a bit more confidence that the uptrend is probably resuming. But it does look pretty good because this week we sold off. We retested that 5,000 level. That held pretty well. The bulls came back and closed with a little bit of a hammer. Now still below the 10-week moving average, which is important. But we have a little bit of conviction here. I mean, look at the volume has been growing ever since we found these lows. So I think there is quite a bit of participation in here, a bit more excitement. You could see that Apple actually lifted the market higher. There's a few other stocks that are breaking out. So it could be that this whole thing was just a simple shakeout and we're about to resume. So in terms of the S&P 500, that's what I'll be looking for. If we're managing to get back above the 10-week moving average at the beginning of the week, I think that's important, and I would be using any long positions for stops. I would be using 5,000. So the low of this candle will get me out of any long positions into the S&P 500 going forward. But a little bit of an exposure in here, I think it's good. No full positions, but just kind of starting to nibble at the market. I think after these couple of candles and the way the volume looks, I think it's kind of the way to go. Equal weight has come back into this correction, just beautiful. A test of 157.5, 158. Previous zone of resistance, now support, and we're coming back in here. Volume continues to look pretty good, and again, the 10-week moving average has got to be taken out. But just a simple retest of the breakout, and markets will do that, right? Take a look at the NASDAQ, which looks even more powerful. Came back on very strong volume. The NASDAQ 100 left quite a nice hammer just below that 10-week. So we're not out of the woods. They could always turn back, but use the low of this week as a defense. And if this was the shakeout and a simple retest of the breakout zone, they didn't quite manage to get all the way down there, but 17K held. And to me, this is a signal that one could start to initiate bullish moves. Again, if you're losing the low of the week, I would be completely out of anything. But based on the way we are right here, just a touch more we need as the next week begins, and that would mean that this 18,500 level will get taken out and we'll continue to push higher. And as the composite looks pretty good as well. This one actually closed above its 10-week moving average. So that's the 50-day. Still in the resistance zone. But if you step back and look at the chart, I mean, all they managed to do, the bears, were just this heavy sell-off candle, right? Just a 1 week, one-off, correct that bullishness that we had, that kind of strong sentiment, that froth in the market. We created a little bit of a shakeout, and now we're coming back. And if the top of this candle, the open of this candle gets taken out, I think we're going much, much higher. So again, interesting signals that the markets are telling us right at the moment. Semiconductors also sold off and created almost a bullish engulfing. Very beautiful pattern in here. That's usually in uptrends. It's considered a continuation of the trend. Simple rejection of any correction. 4,400. We did not close on a bullish note much, but I like what I see in here, as long as we remain above the low of this candle. So semiconductors looking good. You can look, there's like good stocks setting up out there. I think even Nvidia, once again, KLAC, and there's like a few others that look pretty decent, and this could have been just a simple ABC correction in semiconductors. Dow Jones Industrial came back, never managed to get back below 37,500. There was another zone of support right here at about 37. This one, I mean, it had 3 weeks of selling. The last week actually wasn't that aggressive as in the other markets, and we stabilized for a couple of weeks, and now we're going back. And you look at the growing volume as you're coming off the lows. I think that's a pretty good sign of things to come here in the Dow Jones. But let's see if we can get one more weekly close, and then I can fully participate in the market to the bullish side with increased positions. The iShares Russell 2000, right? So IWM. It's still struggling a little bit on here. The volume, it's not picking up that much. It created a move up into 210, then it fell back. I was talking to the guys, that are part of our Substack. If this is a flat formation, in a second wave, then we got to continue to go and do not lose the low of this candle. So a little bit more. I think if we can get back above 205. I'll look at the daily time frames every day. If we can get back above 210, then I think we're on our way much, much higher. So again, I'm not going to rush right here. We're still going into a zone of supply, but I'll give it a bit more time and see how it behaves, right? There is no point to do anything right now in the small caps, right? They don't look as good as some of the other markets do, but if they start to, then that means, we're going to go after them. Bitcoin sold off, came briefly below 60,000, and it's looking pretty good here with the hammer. The uptrend remains intact. I think this whole thing was a corrective move. Again, I write about it every day on the Daily Drip, and it's, I'm still waiting for some of the upside levels to get taken down, like 67, 68, and then I'll start to get back on the long side. So you can look at the trend line, this kind of coming down here. Let's see if we can get back above that guy. Something like that, will definitely push me on the long side, and until then I'm going to wait. I do like that I see a little bit of volume coming in. I'd like to see it a little bit more above average, but maybe that's going to come next week. So for right now, it could be that this correction is over by the size of this tail that we're getting in Bitcoin. All we got to do is just see a bit more, and then we'll start nibbling on the long side. For right now, it's still on the waiting list. U.S. 10-year yields came back. I mean, they went as high as 4.8. This is, a lot to do with the Fed and a little bit the economy, but I don't have a strong visibility here. It looks like it's a corrective move against this downtrend, but if it is, then we got to start coming lower, and that should stimulate the equity markets to the upside. The dollar tried to do a breakout. It failed. Strong candle in here. A couple of weeks of nothing at about 106. Came back at the 10-week moving average. And I'm going to look to see if we're going to get a close below. If we're going to get a close below here, then it's very likely that this whole thing was a failed break, and we could do something like that next. Okay, so that's what we will be watching. And again, that's going to be positive for the markets. If for any reason we're noticing a bullish candle next week, right, that's going to come with risk, and close back above 106, then we do have 107 as a resistance, but anything bullish closing here would not look good for this type of a corrective move. Just a simple three-way from these lows on the dollar. So that's still not really confirming. We can look at the trend line from these lows, and then once it breaks, I think we got a signal from there as well. Gold continues to remain bullish. Lower volume on correction, which is fine, above the 10-week. If you own gold, I would hold it. There is no reason in here to take a little bit of profits, obviously, after the strong run, but above 2100, this market continues to remain bullish. Again, I talk about it daily on the Daily Drip, but on terms of the weekly basis, I see no reason in here to turn bearish or do anything silly with the gold. It's just maybe consolidating, and then it's probably going to get ready and push back to the upside. It had a major breakout. And then silver, I think this one has a bit more of an interesting formation, right? Inverted head and shoulder, huge reversal, breakout, coming back to retest. I think, as good as it gets. I would not necessarily, you could play some bids, but remember, silver market is quite volatile. I would wait to see if they're going to buy it from here before. So I would wait for it to turn slightly and then kind of get involved. But look at the correction, lower volume on it, retesting of the 26 level. I think that's pretty bullish. Oil, a failed breakout, and now comes back below. Again, not a big visibility in here. This trend line, I think it's still valid. So, you could say that, there might be some buying interest in here. That's fine. If you lose that, then we're probably going to get back all the way here towards 70. So not much really to do in oil at the moment. And then volatility index already went up to 21, 22, and now they're crushing it back into support at about 13, right? So it was just that corrective move into the markets. Volatility spiked up, and now we're going back down. And I think, again, that's a pretty good signal from the market. I would not ignore this. I think that, this tells us that, the bulls are trying to kind of get back into the game here and probably push the market higher into the month of May. So anyway, thanks for watching. This was the wrap up. Subscribe to my Substack. Again, just daily updates up there, videos and notes. See me on Twitter. Send me an email. I'm available. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.